Nigerians, how far? So just like that, we don't forget the sexual harassment case between Natasha Akpoti and Senator Godswill Akpabio. Just like that, we move on, as if nothing happened. I'm telling you, these politicians, they use our head. Seriously, are the reason say this whole thing fit be a planned deal between Akpabio and Tinubu with Wike just to divert Nigerians' attention? Think Tinubu just suddenly creates wahala for Rivers State, and now everybody don't shift focus. Nobody they talk about Natasha Akpoti again. My people, this na mind game. These people sabi how to control narrative, and we just they follow. It's crazy, the kind of trick where then they play on us. So make una watch this video. This lady don't expose how Wike and Tinubu planned and took over Rivers State. Tinubu they claim say na because Ijaw people we know blow pipeline, but na big lie. Everything was well planned. Watch and see what she talk. She reveal all the secrets behind this matter, and no be only that. You go also hear from Sowore as he exposed the 3 most dangerous people where Nigeria suppose they watch out for. So stay tuned, like this video so YouTube go recommend them to others, and subscribe to our channel. Subscription na free. Plus, don't forget to drop your thoughts for the comment section. It is very important. Share the video with your family and friends. So let's watch this video together.
The event of the past few days has been so depressing, and I tell you, it is going to grow worse if we don't get involved in the political process. Now there's rumors of merger and coalition. Whatever it is, if Peter Obi moves to any party or there's any merger, I want to advise every young man, get yourself a ticket in your house, either House of Representative or Senate. Let us all crowdfund and support legitimate, serious-looking young individuals who should participate in the political space. Because how can we have a voice vote for what the Constitution clearly states that there should be 2/3 majority votes in the House? These people bypassed us, and they will keep bypassing us so long as we keep being adamant and we just make noise on the Twitter. Our voice should go beyond the Twitter. We should be part of the political process. Let's put our ears on the ground and participate in the process. Can we give up on this country? Yes, we should give up. But our children will curse us for not participating and making a future out of this nation. So let us not give up. Yes, there is every reason to give up. Let us not give up. Let us get involved in this process so that our country will be better. Please. Look at what Raye did, the core member. Today, as I speak to you, the federal government has come to say that they will pay the 77,000. So your noise does not look like they are not listening. They are listening, but we need to change our strategy. Let us be deliberate about this process. Let us get involved in this process so that one Senate president will not arise and then make a yea and nay for a matter that is supposed to be voted. Let's change this nation. Don't give up on Nigeria. God bless you.
Princess Comrade Mrs. Rosemary John Odwane. And I will tell you for free, you can see the atmosphere woman feels at this moment. We are first saddened by the fact that we lost a father in the person of Chief E.K. Clark. And in the bid of it, Pandev went to see Mr. President. At that point, for me, it becomes like a coup that was plotted for our elders. Yes. Because that visit was on the 11th. And on the 12th of March, the FCT minister had a media chat. So why didn't that media chat come ahead, way ahead of time? Why wait until Pandev went to the villa to meet with Mr. President? So it was an orchestrated plan that was executed to rubbish the Niger Delta leaders, and then coming out to the press chat to steal that nonsense that they have orchestrated. It was a coup plotted against the region, and our elders were innocently that they fell into ambushed and fell into that trap. Because one of the issues Mr. President talked about was going back. He charged the elders to go back and make peace with Wike and his godson, who happens to be our own son and Ijaw's son, ruling as the governor of Rivers State for the first time after 24 years of democracy in Rivers State that Upland have led the people. So for me, it was a coup, like I said. Now, coming to our question, we are calling on the international bodies because now he has declared a state of emergency. That is to tell you he has paralyzed every structure in the state. And also trying to now shift the blame to Fubara. How did the crisis started? Where is Wike in all of this problem? Is Fubara going to bear the brunt of it all and Wike will be working as a free man? Ijaw people has always bear the brunt of all the crisis, even in the Niger Delta region. Oil pipeline blown up. Did it happen in an Ijaw territory? Who blow it up? I tell you for free. Quote me, is Wike. It's orchestrated. It is pre-planned before even it happened. Yes. Because in his media chat, he made it clear. He said they will blow up pipeline. Is it only them that have monopoly of blowing up pipeline? Did he not say that? Yes. So how come the pipeline went off if it wasn't pre-planned or orchestrated? So we call on Mr. President to review his actions taken against the Ijaw people, because an injury to one is an injury to all. Yes. I am from Bayelsa State. I am not a Rivers woman, but I am an Ijaw daughter. And I stand here as an Ijaw daughter to convene this meeting so that we will send our message clearly. Alameseya was wrongly impeached, just like in a movement like this. And today is the turn of Fubara. Are they saying that the Ijaw people are not good for governance? So can we be laying the goods, the egg that lays the goods, and then we will be sidelined from milking from the federation account? In the first Fubara allocation was seized from Fubara. Who dare them? Who dare Wike? How big is Wike? How big is he? Who made Wike? And I asked again, who made Wike? And Ijaw made Wike. Today, does he have respect for President Goodluck Jonathan? No. Does he have respect for Dime Bifaka, who held his hand and took him to Peter Odili? Does he respect her? No. And does Wike need respect? No. And so I asked again, who is Wike? Nobody. Who is he? That Wike will denigrate all of Ijaw nation. Wike telling us that Savanna is for our gods. The thunder should fire Ijaw. Thunder will continue to fire Wike. And the oil and gas passes through our ancestral land. Bringing an Akwa Ibomite to come and rule over Rivers State will not work. It will not work. They might not touch me. It not go work, eh? It not go work. This state of emergency declared in Rivers State is a state of emergency declared against the Ijaw nation. Yes. It is unconstitutional, it's a rape of our democracy, and we call on Mr. President to review his action against the Ijaw people. Because we can call for an ethnic war, and that is what is playing out. Yes.
I have been in politics since 1979. Nobody can say, this is what I came for politics. I have been in politics. I contested election 1983 to the State House of Assembly. And from that day to now, I've been the kingmaker in Rivers State. Nobody can say. But let me come out to Wike. Wike started this merchant with his family as a young boy. And that was why his father disowned him as a youth. And he was adopted by the late Iyewali, Ubebe Isserem, adopted. After betraying his family and the father disowned him, that was not enough. He betrayed the Isserem family by plotting to remove Timothy Isserem as the chairman of the local government. The man who brought him, the man through whom I know him. He did not only betray Isserem, he also betrayed the other man Isserem producing, Ajubike Omerekele. Then after he proceeded, Amechi made him chief of staff and recommended him to be a minister. He betrayed Amechi before Jonathan and his wife. For political gain as a merchant. Jonathan and his wife thought Wike was a good man. But at the end of the result, Jonathan lost his election because of the fallout of that betrayal. Amici and 5 other governors pulled out of PDP, fought him. And the end result was Jonathan lost the election. That was not the end. He started insulting Jonathan and his wife. To the extent that he took the land, that property belongs to Jonathan's wife's father, demolished it, and shared it to 2 persons, Joy Dudie and his lawyer. And Joy Dudie, when she knew that it was Jonathan's property, she packed out. Jonathan had to use force to recover her father's property. That is the payment for betrayal. It did not end there. We also hear all things he said about Obi. He betrayed Obi. He betrayed his political party. Yes, there was a man who said, oh, APC was a cancer, PDP, malaria. Because of perfidy, because of his attitude as a merchant, he betrayed the party for a ministerial appointment. He went to the council. We all know that Wike is a pathological liar. He thrives in lying. And that lying is what he has been doing from his family to date. Now, if somebody has this record of history, who has been betraying, a traitor, who has been betraying people, a traitor who has been merchandising politically, he has gone to Tinubu. Tinubu should be very, very careful. Wike has destroyed the relationship between Tinubu and the North. He has destroyed the relationship between Tinubu and the Igbos. He has now destroyed the relationship between Tinubu and the Nigerians because of his lies. He was the person who did not obey Tinubu's mediation advice. Sim obeyed by withdrawing his case from the court.
Well, joining me now to discuss this is Sowore, is the convener of #RevolutionNow movement. He joins virtually from Abuja. Thank you for your time. All right, let me start by asking you, Mr. Sowore, your take on the declaration of the state of emergency in Rivers State before we even move to the suspension of the elected governor, his deputy, and of course the members of the State House.
Well, the declaration of emergency was clearly an attempt to sacrifice an entire structure in Nigeria. Not the first, but one of the first, but more brazen by the president. In this case, they wanted Wike to have and control the entire state known as Rivers, one of Nigeria's richest states. So everything had been pointing to this since Fubara was elected or selected, whichever one you want to agree with. And Fubara, prior to that, was Wike's bagman. But when they started disagreeing, he decided that it was time to get rid of Fubara. And Fubara, of course, being in the saddle of power or governorship, fought back. So I think it got to a point where Wike had to reach to Tinubu, who is his principal in this case, to move in and take the case, take the state over from Fubara so that he can have it to himself. That's what they just executed. And before you go further, let me say this, it's very important. Like, there are certain individuals in this country, there are plenty of them, but there are 2 of them that we must watch out for. 3 of them, actually. FCT Minister Wike, the President of the Senate, Akpabio, and the Nigerian President himself, Bola Tinubu. These are guys that are very dangerous. The reason they're dangerous is because they have lived a life of crime and impunity, whichever way you want to describe it, for a long time and gotten away with a lot.
Okay,
so
would you like to expatiate on that? You said that there are 3 individuals we must look at, according to you, we must look out for in the country. The president of the country, that's President Bola Ahmed.
Nigeria Senate.
The Senate President, and also the Minister of the FCT.
Wike, and President Bola Tinubu himself. the reason why these guys are different from every dangerous person you have ever met in your life is that they have risen through the ranks of crime and impunity and gotten to the top without consequences. That's why they are dangerous, and that's what you see them doing now. And this morning I was invited to a media interview on Channels TV, and I did predict that the Nigerian National Assembly will not do anything. They will endorse Bola Tinubu's state of emergency. They are all in on this. And that is why Nigerians should understand that there's no way out except the way they've ganged up against us, we must gang up against them too, and very fast. Otherwise,
I mean, okay, great. I would like you to speak also on the issue of the governor, of the state being suspended. What does this do for precedent?
Well, this is not the first governor to be suspended in an emergency. Obasanjo used to do it for lunch. He suspended Fayose, and I think he introduced a state of emergency in Plateau, and I don't know if there was another. Yeah, there was a point he removed the governor of, that was a different style, but he removed the governor of Bayelsa, Alamasei, and put Goodluck Jonathan, his deputy, and they got him arrested. So, and then in places where he could introduce state of emergency, he got a lot of these governors impeached. That is what they are doing here. It has nothing to do with the constitution. I do not quote constitutional provisions in Nigeria because I don't believe in Nigerian constitution. I've said this too many times already.
Why don't you believe in the country's constitution?
Because it was not made by Nigerian people, and it was not made for the Nigerian people. It was made by the military for the elite, the people that are using it now to commit the kind of political crimes you are seeing on a daily basis. That is why I reject the constitution. If the constitution was made by Nigerian people, the kind of provisions and the loopholes and lacunae they are using now would have been detected and removed, and they would not be part of our constitutional makeup. So I've always said that except we make a different constitution for Nigeria, I would never believe in these military songs of praise. I call it SOP or newsletter that they call constitution. It is not Nigerian constitution. It's a Nigerian military or Nigerian retired military constitution.
All right. Just quickly also, for some political spectators and watchers, they feel that this might just be an opportunity for maybe the opposition to really voice out, political opposition like political parties and whatnot. You, of course, belong to a political party. You contested in the last election. We saw just today also there was talks around a coalition. There was even a press conference to that effect where we saw the former vice president of the country at that press conference. He spoke, and also the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai. I would like your take in terms of the role of opposition now. What can be done?
But what is dangerous at this time, besides these three men I mentioned to you and their politics, is also the danger of falling for political opposition scam. This is how...
Can you speak on that? What do you mean by political opposition scam?
Yeah, the people who are capitalizing, who might capitalize on this, are not actually opposed to this. They are just opportunists who would capitalize on, who will use anything that comes their way to make themselves or legitimize what they claim is their opposition.
Can you be more specific on who these people are?
Atiku is a former APC person, former PDP operative. El-Rufai, who just last week moved to SDP, that is already blowing up his face because they say they don't want him there. And whomever you've seen who was at the press conference today claiming that they are opposed to this have also in the past participated in this kind of impunity. Atiku was vice to Obasanjo for 8 years. We mentioned Obasanjo's name. He never did a press conference at that time to say it was wrong for Obasanjo to have done what he did during his time against his opponents at that time. El-Rufai, as you know him, is the biggest snake in the house. That one will kill, he will destroy, he will lie. That is how they operate. And they're using this period now to recruit the unwary people of Nigeria. If you fall for it, too bad for you, because these are APC operatives who are mutating in different directions. At the end of the day, they are not opposed to each other. They all just want an opportunity to either negotiate for power or grab power for the same thing. If you give them, if they have an opportunity to come to power, they will do worse things. El-Rufai did worse things in his state. El-Rufai buried 300 people, Shiites.
Do you have evidence for that?
Overnight. Oh, why are you talking about? Why are you asking about? You're not a journalist. You didn't know that.
No, I'm also asking you. I mean,
no. I
you
have
said
evidence.
it.
There's even satellite evidence of the graveyard of 300 Shiites that El-Rufai buried overnight. Some of them in shallow graves. El-Rufai killed people in southern Kaduna. El-Rufai confessed that one. If you don't know, at least you will know this one. That they were paying Fulani herdsmen and bandits to come in Kaduna State when he first became governor. That's the person you call political opposition, and we are going to be reporting them to Nigerians as the opposition, and then one day you find out that they're not opposed to anything good. They are only opposed to, the people who have not invited them to eat. So please, this is my position that you should be careful how you qualify. Just use your adjective very carefully.
I mean, they belong to political parties, so we'll of course
I belong to
been in government. So I mean, the term to use, irrespective, I believe is the word opposition. But let's move away from that. How would you?
APC was the political opposition to PDP, and you know better today. And these are the guys who set up APC, El-Rufai and Atiku and the rest of them.
You also belong to a political party. I think I can also call you an opposition.
I just told you that, but I'm not a member of APC or PDP, so.
Yeah. Anyway, let's quickly, before I let you go, how do you think this issue in Rivers, should have been handled by the president against what we saw?
There's no way they would have handled it differently. This is how they operate. The president didn't need anybody's advice to know that they were going to hijack Rivers, because they are already planning for 2027, and Wike must have given Tinubu the condition that without removing this guy and restoring, giving him Rivers complete control, which he doesn't hide. He has made his demand public from day one that he may not be able to help him, and they're just walking you through to the answer. There's no question that there's no way anybody could have done this differently. This was going to be the outcome they wanted, as long as Wike was going to be pleased. He needed Rivers' sacrifice on his altar before he can accept to do more work, I guess. So otherwise, this is some of the most ridiculous, most brazen impunity that you can see in any political system. That you just wake up, remove a governor and don't forget that all of the arms of government are involved in the conspiracy. The judiciary was mobilized to seize Rivers. That's the Supreme Court. They took their allocation. And the reason the Supreme Court took the allocation was because they said the democracy there is not strong enough.
Okay.
Go back and put the state assembly back in place. Now you are giving this allocation to a person who was not even elected at all. It was an appointee of Tinubu and Wike. And immediately, the first thing they said after this man was appointed is that, look, we are going to release the allocation to you. And by our calculation, you get 400 billion naira in 6 months.
All right. Just quickly, I just want to chip this in because, there was conversation around saying that maybe someone like Sowore, for instance, if he was in Fubara's shoes, what would he have done?
I've never considered myself as a person who will be state governor. But if perhaps I was governor of the state in Nigeria and you declare a state of emergency there, you have to kill everybody in that state to rule over it.
So
they know better. They know better.
So it's going to be a fight to finish if you were a governor. And such
I wasn't going to give up. It's to me, all right, so that you can understand the context very well. This should come to the annulment of a free and fair election. If I won the election, on a free and fair basis, so I would take it as if my election has been annulled and my mandate has been taken away from me, and I will mobilize and ensure that this did not happen and it will never repeat itself. But the reason why the Fubaras of this world are weak is because they have all along been part of the enablers of the evil that Wike became. He was his bagman for a long time, stealing money together. So I'm sure they already showed him his dossier. And within the 6 months that he's removed, it's debatable if he has immunity or not. So
All right.
maybe FCC was the one who escorted him out of government house, and he knows what was up.
All right, thank you so much for your time on the program. Omoyele Sowore, convener, Revolution Now Movement, joining virtually from Abuja. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I'd like to, of course, bring in Honorable Etana Benedict is a member representing Okwe Sapele Owie Federal Constituency, Delta State. He joins me virtually from Abuja right now. Thank you for your time, Honorable.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let me first start by asking you, Nigerians, woke up to the president's speech just a few days ago, and then today the House had its sitting and did endorse the state of emergency, as declared by the president, and even the suspension of the governor. So, you're a member of the House of Representatives. On what basis, on what grounds?
Okay. Personally, the declaration of Mr. President some few days ago came as a shock to me. I never envisaged that we'll be talking about state of emergency, in these times of our democracy. Probably have passed that, long ago. However, the situation was such, that every keen observer knew that we were snowballing into a very, very dangerous, situation in River State. Things were degenerating. Many of the moves, to restore peace, was not working. And there must be something, to be done, to help out, the situation. So when that declaration came, many of us looked at it personally. I do not really believe that it actually satisfied the provision of Section 305, as claimed by the president. But that section itself, is so vague.
So for you personally, you do not believe that it entirely satisfies the grounds for a state of emergency. That's your personal conviction.
Yes, it's clear, that the problem in River State is not a problem of law. It's a problem of personal problems, issues, of individuals, which actually snowballed into, official management of the state. If not, there were issues that ought to have been settled at the background, not in the courts and all those things as we see them going. So the crisis actually, is not situated within the criteria given, provided under that section 305.
So if as a member of the House, you are not personally, convinced about it, one would have expected that maybe you had voiced out in rejection, because permit me to read a tweet by the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the just concluded presidential polls in 2023, where in that tweet he wrote, "My dear brothers and sisters, members of the Labour Party in the National Assembly, since your inauguration as distinguished, the honourable members of the National Assembly have refrained from interfering in your legislative affairs out of respect for your independence and to allow you to focus on alleviating the suffering of Nigerian people. However, at this critical junction, following 26 years of a deteriorating democracy or democratic process marked by disregard for educational qualifications, for electoral position, massive rigging, and now unconstitutional removal of elected office holders, I find it necessary to address you. These unconstitutional actions have a far-reaching negative implication for our democracy and the will of the people." And it goes on to sort of urge you to be defenders of justice. So, why were you quiet?
Okay, you see, first of all, I didn't see that tweet or read through it.
It's on his page, actually.
I must tell you the truth. Things that happens outside plenary is different. It's not what you see in plenary when everybody comes to plenary and they say those who want to say hey, and those who want to say nay. That is not the issue. What happens before, if reported, perhaps some of all these statements, people will not be making them, at all.
Okay, can you give us an idea of some of the things that happens behind the scene? Were you intimidated?
The proclamation is very clear. It is very clear that the proclamation made by Mr. President 2 days ago, as communicated to the National Assembly, didn't return to him the way he did it. That tells you, that there were a lot of issues, that members of the National Assembly had to contend with, fight with, and as opposition members, or as the case may be, collectively, change some of the things as designed by Mr. President. So it was not like what people say, that if Mr. President brings, something, he goes back, exactly as it is. Take a look at the statements made. You would have seen that there were a lot of objections, there were a lot of rejections, there were a lot of modifications, there were a lot of, things done. I personally moved the motion, on the floor, insisting that the conduct or the oversight of the sole administration is not provided as Mr. President made it, in his broadcast. That it is the National Assembly in line with Section 11 Section 4. So we did things to change. See, the ultimate goal is that when you are in government, when you are managing a situation, it is different from people who are making social comments, outside. So if, for whatever reason, let us assume that Mr. President did not even make the proclamation, this problem of impeachment had gone on. And for whatever reason, they say the governor has been impeached, and the governor said, no, you cannot impeach me under this circumstance. Violence will come. Loss of life will come. At what stage are we going to be saying, that no, we don't need to shed blood? So many of us disagreed with the proclamation at the initial stage, but when we sought for clarification and the understanding on some workings, or the ultimate goal of achieving peace, with this, we started not looking at it.
Senator Benedict, I'm sorry, I'm still going to, Honorable Benedict, sorry, I'm still going to stay with you on this. You said that initially you opposed, but when you are intimated with the ultimate goal. So, Nigerians are watching. So what is the ultimate goal for agreeing to the suspension of the governor of Rivers State? What did the House have in mind?
Is to restore peace for a continuation of office of the governor. The way it was going is capable of really, causing chaos and a complete breakdown of law and order. We don't know who are the ones breaking the pipelines or bombing stations. That is not what Nigerians should be getting.
But was there really, I'm sorry, sir, but was there really a breakdown of law and order in Rivers State to warrant even the declaration of, because if one is to look at the conditions for the declaration of emergency, you are looking at a situation of war, total chaos, but that really wasn't the case. So it just looks like a situation of, it feels more, I'm sorry, sir, it feels more, for many Nigerians, it feels more political, very personal, and maybe an attempt at state capture. And Nigerians were hoping maybe the House would stand its ground, particularly the opposition in the House, even though maybe there might just be a handful. But this happened. What does this say for precedents?
Look, the opposition in the House, when you say opposition, meaning the minority party, minority will have their say, but the majority will always have their way. What minorities do every day on the floor of the House is not broadcasted across news channels. But you will make your complaints, and people will listen to you. And I can tell you that it was the complaint made by minority parties members, as the case may be, that brought out changes. Mr. President said the proclamation was going to last for 6 months, but it was amended to say no, we can even get it done. We can get this problem settled earlier before then, so that those who were elected by the people will continue their service. We have introduced a manner, a method, which probably I would have felt we would have done before the proclamation was made, but that we should have people, independent people from other places, to mediate to resolve this problem. Like I said, it was a problem of individuals, and that is why it is lingering. If it's a problem of law, the court would have solved all these problems since a year and a half ago. But because it's a problem of individuals, and when the problem lingers more than required, know that the individuals are not saying the truth about it. But now this problem is now getting to the space where, if care is not taken, we will get into a very chaotic situation where there will be breakdown of law and order. I think something must be done, in one way. I would not have suggested a state of emergency, but in any case, it has been done by Mr. President. We must see how best we can manage the situation to get the ultimate peace, the ultimate peace which Mr. President desires, for Rivers State. Let us forget the issue of state capture. Nigeria has passed the stage where the ruling party will be thinking of capturing states as the case.
I'm sorry. I'm going to comment there. I'm sorry.
Peace is restored.
You say that Nigeria seems to have passed the stage, and it appears like there are no issues of state capture. But many political observers might differ because it feels like the country snowballing into a one-party system. We are seeing, aside even the defection, just observing the political climate itself, it feels that way, and it feels like opposition, like yourself in the House, are silent. One would even think that a state of emergency. I'm sorry, sir. One would think that if a state of emergency maybe should be declared, there's a cost of living. Permit me to use the word maybe crisis. Many Nigerians cannot feed themselves. Many of them do not even understand the state of the economy anymore. Many just are working just to survive. And this is across Nigeria. Many can't even afford their rents. They sleep under bridges. They used to have homes. They can't afford to pay anymore. And they sleep outside. But the assembly maybe isn't doing much in that regard. Instead, what we see is palliatives. I mean, those are core issues. Yes, case of insecurity where people die every day. Nothing in terms of emergency has been declared. But we see this political issue, and in less than 72 hours, we are seeing the assembly pass all of this. So it feels like a slap in the face of Nigerians. So I ask you again, do you think Nigerians are proud of you?
Well, it depends on where the Nigerians are looking at it.
All of these issues I've mentioned.
Just hold on. On the floor of the House, you saw me when I challenged the defection of members from one political party to another, insisting that their assist should have been declared automatically the very moment they moved. I said it on the floor of the House. You are not referring to it. The first month I came into office, I challenged and openly said that the removal of subsidy will not work, and all these palliative measures is not the right thing to do. So many of us will have said, go and check the clips. What else can you do? Carry the mails and run away with it. I can guarantee you that personally I'm satisfied that I have, to the best of my knowledge, my conscience tells me I have done what is right. But there's a limit at which you can go. You can investigate some of all these things we are talking about. It's not a tea party. It's a battle for money till the evening. Did I not mention some few days ago that the very day you hear that I have defected to another party, I would rather not come to that house, again. Nigerians must also to learn to appreciate some of the things that we are doing. The reason why we did not delay this emergency proclamation is because it's a constitutional requirement that if the house is in sitting, within 48 hours we must deal with it. Or if the house is in recess, we must deal with the matter in 10 days. If not, I guarantee you, this matter would have taken a long time, before it gets a resolution to it. And as you know, it was brought yesterday, but for whatever reason, it was pushed to today. It tells you that by yesterday, people were not happy. There was arguments and rancors. There were demands. All these things will not come on the faces of camera for you people to be seeing. If we do that in the faces of camera, it's the same Nigerians that will tell us that we are rogues, we are garage people, we don't have decencies, as the case may be. So I can tell you, we're trying our best. Any of these issues, we are trying our best, to see. You see, if opposition is not getting their ass together, it is clear that it is the opposition themselves. All the parties are in disarray. Opposition parties are in disarray. They cannot even put their hearts, together. Whose fault? I have been trying as much as possible as a member of the Labour Party to see that we come together, so that we can have a common front. Even Labour Party alone is not enough to combat this situation. We will need to partner with other opposition parties to be able to get a grip. I hope you understand that we are dealing with a party, with a lot of experienced politicians in their fold, So it's not going to be a tea party. But first, I must admit that opposition is not putting themselves, together. But we still have time, even if time is running fast. We still have time. We should sit down, look at ourselves, bury our personal differences, and see how best, we can come together and make very lasting opposition for the interest of the common, Nigeria. All right. I agree. Things are good. Things are rough. But it's affecting everybody too, irrespective of the opinion people have outside.
Is it affecting you?
You will see.
Is the economy affecting you too, sir?
Would have been more better.
Is the economy also affecting you?
Honorable,
you said it's affecting everybody. Is the economy also affecting you?
Big time, big time. The House of Rep member is the first child of every family in his constituency. You pay the rent of everybody, you do the burial of everybody, you pay the school fees of everybody, you pay the rent of everybody, you pay feeding for everybody, you do marriages for people. Can't it? Name it. Where does that fund come from? But the first child, the man whose father dies now, the next call he makes immediately the man is dying is the honorable member.
All right, sir.
So what is the form? Where I was before was more comfortable. It is the spirit of service, hoping that Mr. Peter Obi, who might be living in this moment, would have emerged, as president of this country. So we all came in, to see how best we can contribute, to it, not necessarily because, of one particular thing. Life has not changed.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Honorable Atana Benedict, member representing Okwe-Sapele-Wie Federal Constituency Council, Delta State. It's been a pleasure. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. At this point, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll of course be bringing in our other guests still on this topic. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on New Central Television. And of course, we are discussing matters arising as regards the state of emergency declaration by the President in Rivers State, and also the suspension of the elected governor and replacing him with a sole administrator for 6 months. Well, bringing into the conversation right now, I'd like to, of course, especially welcome Indicator's former spokesperson for the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. She joins from Maryland in the US. I also have Desmond Orisa Wevier is a legal practitioner. He joins me live in the studio. I also have Dr. Piper. Dr. Piper also joins this conversation virtually. It's great to have you on the show. That's gentleman and lady. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Let me start with you, Indicator. Quickly, what do you make of what the president, declared in Rivers State, the state of emergency and the suspension of the governor?
It's a constitutional overreach. At the end of the day, this is reserved for the National Assembly to be able to the State Assembly to be able to remove a governor and not the president. So it is a constitutional overreach. It is undemocratic at this point. It undermines federalism, the power of federalism. The states should be safe from actions like this, and completely undemocratic. I can see the rush they had to do today after the action had been taken to get the National Assembly to back them up. And even with that, you could see the struggle with the National Assembly. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, the opposition could not sway the matter, and we're where we are. But you could see the struggle, you could see the haphazardness from yesterday to today because of this action. So it is completely undemocratic. It has procedural irregularities, going back and forth with what should have been done first and what should have been done after. This does not go well for our democracy at all. The president has misstepped with this. And unfortunately, I feel like this foreshadows, or this shows the direction our democracy is going. We had a chance to grow our democracy. Unfortunately, here we are with these type of actions, and I'm very, very disappointed. I personally have not expected much from President Tinubu, but at the same time, knowing that this is one of the fellows from NADECO, and after all the struggle with NADECO to end up with actions such as this, and trying to back this irregularity with such a shoddy action by the National Assembly, I'm very disappointed. This is disheartening, and this injustice, as has been said before, should not stand.
All right, let me take the opinion of Dr. Peter Piper on this. Are you also disappointed or surprised?
Well, I will not lie to you. All these people you've been interviewing, they are politicians, so they all make a political statement.
Dr. Peter Piper, can you hear me? Okay, I think we are having a bit of connectivity issues with Dr. Piper. I'll come back to you, Dr. Piper, if you can hear me, but let me come to the studio right now where I have Barrister Desmond. Let's look at this from the legal standpoint. Even though we saw the Attorney General of the Federation yesterday justifying the President's action, and even saying that this serves as some sort of caution and warning for other state governors. Did the President act out of line?
Okay, thank you very much for that. According to the Constitution, the President has the power to declare a state of emergency. But where the problem or the issue lies is the issue of suspending a governor, the deputy, and the House of Assembly.
But looking at the happenings in Rivers State and the conditions for a state declaration of a state of emergency, does it really warrant such?
I think the decision is rather hasty and doesn't warrant such, because this is very clear. Because if you look at the security situation in many parts of this country, it's so intense that it has gotten international concern. So you leave these states and you move over to rivers. What's with these rivers where every political circle that has to do with the country revolves around rivers? Now, I saw in the president's remark where he declared, in his proclamation declaring the state of emergency in rivers, he stated that because he used the issues the Supreme Court mentioned and the political crisis, and he also mentioned the oil vandalism. And I asked, the oil vandalism happened within 24 hours. And he said the governor has taken no stand on that. I kind of fault that ground, because a governor do not just wake up and make any decision. He needs to be briefed by both state and federal agencies, then discuss with the Executive Council and his Attorney General before he escalates to the president. So the president said, in the absence of the governor communicating to him to declare state of emergency, that's why he did that unilaterally. But the problem I have with declaring a state of emergency, even the Constitution, if you look at section 305 subsection 4, it says that it is actually, the Constitution recognizes the governor first, in the first instance. Say the governor acting with the address of the House of Assembly can request to the president. And the reason why the Constitution will provide that is because the Constitution wants continuity of democracy. So that is why it said, let it be the local place to make the request. It's only when they've not made the request and there's been an escalation, then within a reasonable time. But what is really a reasonable time? In law, a reasonable time is a fact-based inquiry that you have to look at the circumstances. Can you say within 24 hours, failure for the governor to act on the reported oil pipeline vandalism is enough to declare a state of emergency? There are so many things going on in different parts of this country that the president has also kept quiet over. So it now reeks of more, it sounds more political than legal. And I will also give you an example.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would of course touch on that, but I understand that we have Dr. Peter Piper back. Dr. Piper, we lost you for a moment there where you were trying to establish a point. We'd like you to pick up.
All right. I would like to confirm if you can hear me properly now.
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
All right. Oh, okay. I would just like us to be frank with ourselves. We should please stop this analysis. We are here. You know who the president is. You know the name of the political party that is in power. We know who are in the National Assembly. We are beginning to recognize that so long as you vote anyone into power, it doesn't matter the party. It doesn't matter the manifesto of that party. The Labour Party people should be very quiet at this moment. They shouldn't provoke Nigerians. I think they should all keep quiet and bury their heads in shame and stop parading themselves as opposition. We know that in a democracy, when you vote for your representative and they get into the houses of assembly or the House of Reps or the Senate, we are supposed to see everything happening in that National Assembly. We sense them there as our representative. So they are supposed to be representing our ideas, representing our living standards,
all right,
representing our opinions.
All right.
And now the people we asked to be our representatives are the ones now giving us lectures of what they found there and how they can no longer stand in opposition. You know, even when you talked about state capture, I don't think these guys even understand the ideology of state capture. It means that a state. I'm not talking about a local government or the 36 states. I'm talking about the federation. The nation itself as a state.
Okay, Dr. Piper.
Is under captivity.
All right, Dr. Piper, I'll definitely come back to you. But, great. I'll come back to you, but let me go back to Indicators. Now, in all of this, from the president's speech, he gave serious knocks to Governor Sim Fubara, but seemed to not say anything about the FCT minister. We know that that's in person of Nyesom Wike. And this has elicited reaction because for people following the political tension in Rivers State, they know it's between the governor, some sort of power play between the governor and his immediate past, that Nyesom Wike. What does this reflect of this political drama that is happening and the person, even of Mr. President?
Prioritize his political ambition above the will of the people of Rivers State, above the will of Nigerians, and above democracy. So what is his political ambition? Wike did favors for Mr. President, favors that I would consider, and many people would consider, undemocratic. In fact, by definition, yes, undemocratic in the last in the 2023 elections. And we can see what the reward came, what reward came with that. He ended up as Minister of FCT. And I keep saying that at the end of the day, that Minister of FCT is also a very strategic position, and that's why Tinubu has put him there. FCT is a place where the ruling party does not win, has hardly won. I think they only won in 2015 or so, or even in 2015, they probably lost that. I think they lost it in 2015. And they have not been able to secure FCT, and that has been a bone of contention. This appointment of Nyesom Wike understands how Nyesom Wike acts during elections, what he is able to do during elections, and what he can deliver for them during elections, especially in the FCT. And so with Nyesom Wike, Tinubu has two places, FCT and Rivers State, to conquer. Now, Tinubu has prioritized this above the will of the people. So when anything comes up, with it, especially like within the case, with the case of Tinubu and of Wike and Fubara, Tinubu has taken clearly the side of Wike, because in this kind of issue, two people should be answering questions. So unfortunately, one party in this argument, one party in this contention is not answering any questions. He's going scot-free, and this looks like a victory for him, that at the end of the day, the president has clearly taken his side, because there has been no consequences for his actions in Rivers State whatsoever. People have complained. The people of Rivers State, activists in Rivers State have complained. The Ijaw people, everybody has complained. The opposition has complained. Yet Wike is getting away with this, and we see the president directly backing Wike with his actions. This is a win for Wike, whichever way you want to see it. This is a win for Wike. And why is this a win for Wike? Because Tinubu needs Wike to deliver two things for him. And so Tinubu again has betrayed democracy for his own personal good, and this is not going to lead us anywhere, to be honest. 2027 is one to watch for. I am no longer positive about what is going to happen in 2027, because these actions, these current actions by the president, shows that going forward, he's always going to prioritize himself, his political ambition, above the needs and wants of the Nigerian citizens, and that is very sad.
All right,
Wike should be angry for the chaos that he has caused in Rivers State. Unfortunately, he's getting away with it.
All right, Indicators, thank you so much, because we're really pressed for time. 30 seconds. Dr. Piper, what does this signal for a political precedent?
For who? Political prisoners?
Precedents.
Well,
should other governors be apprehensive?
Precedents. Well, this simply signals the fact that you do not have a proper country to call your own. The fact that in spite of all your education and all the grammar you've been speaking, that you, the people, the citizens of this country, opposition, you call yourself, activists, you call yourselves, you've not been able to come together to speak in one cohesive voice, and all the political parties are all players in the same field, including the Labour Party, the PDP, the APC. I see no difference between any one of them. The SDP, they are just like football teams playing in the same league. So they are all setting a terrible precedence for themselves. Thank you very much.
All right, just quickly before we close the curtains, let me come back to you, Barrister Desmond. Looking at all of this in 30 seconds, is there any form of legal window that Governor Sim can explore to challenge this?
Okay, yes, I think so. The Constitution provides for the powers of state to declare state of emergency on the president, but it doesn't. The Constitution is silent on suspension of both the House and the legislature. And like I said, Section 11 sub 3(4) provides that the National Assembly can take over functions of the state when there's crisis. So what the president should have done is to request the National Assembly to take over the functions of the State House of Assembly so that the National Assembly can make laws for Rivers State, and while the governor governs peacefully. You must be able to reach a compromise, because everything must appear to be fair, otherwise there's going to cry. And the implications of this is that anybody can foment crisis just to create confusion, and the president comes and declares state of emergency. If that can be a president that will be reflected in differences, and that's not good enough. That's going to be very dangerous for our democracy. People, you claim that the oil vandalism, you've not linked it to anybody. No one has said Fubara said I should do this, or anyone said I should do this. So anyone that comes and blow up a pipeline in your place, then you go and suspend the governor. Is that the way it works? I'm not sure the Constitution provides for that. And in this situation, that's why Section 11(4), and I think it should be explored in future occasions. And no one says, the law does not restrict, it doesn't have to be 6 months. If the crisis can be resolved before then the administrator should close out and leave the state back to the governor.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen and ladies. It's been a privilege and a pleasure. Many thanks to you. Of course, Dr. Peter Piper, civil society activist and public affairs analyst. Desmond Orisewevie is a legal practitioner and also in the Cato, former spokesperson of Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. It's been a pleasure. Once again, thank you. All right, now this is where we drop the curtains. In case you missed out, you can actually catch up on our YouTube platform. That's at News Central TV. You can also choose to follow us across social media with the same handle. We are on GoTV, channel 23. You can watch us there live, and you can choose to follow me personally across social at Dakbo at Digboyi. Until I come your way tomorrow, good night.